Hey folks, I just got back from a trip to visiting some friends, hanging out with some friends up in Canada for the last 10 days. And one of the things I brought home from that trip was this glove. And want to just do a quick video and talk a little bit about what would a beer league or senior player maybe be wearing for a catch glove in the early 1960s. Bam, that's this right here. This is a Cooper Weeks GM6 catch glove. I can tell you that for sure it's before the 1965 range. There's a little bit about that. I've got some documents right here that I wanted to show you and talk a little bit about. Let me just first tell you, this is a full-on leather glove, leather cuff, leather backhand, leather lace, leather tee, you name it. This thing's full of leather, and this one is in really great shape. All I've done so far is give it a cleaning with Lexol leather cleaner, and then once this is a little drier, I'm going to go ahead and do some conditioning. I'm also out of an item that I use when I do gloves like this, and that is typically I would wear a like latex glove with a white cloth glove. It's like a cotton glove, and I spray that with the conditioner and then put my hand in with that and work it around like this to really get conditioning inside of the glove, because the finger stalls, I guess it's actually a hand stall. All my fingers are over here and my thumb is over here. That's all leather on the inside. So let me move the camera and tell you a little bit about some things and how I can date this glove. First off, let's take a real good close look at it. Cooper Weeks patch, and you can probably notice right here the Cooper Weeks stamping with the Made in Canada. Over here, this is what's called the gold seal, and then like some more information like NHL professional and cowhide and all that. That was kind of they used like hot foil stamping for that, so a lot of times the color is gone, but the impression that the stamping left behind is still there. Here's the backhand, simple construction. You basically have a tri-fingered design. All your fingers go over here on this side here, and thumb obviously into the thumb. The leather lacing, one loop over this area here to continue going onto this side. Some of the key features when you're trying to figure out the date, the age range and stuff, are the design of the front of this cuff. So here you see we have the two rolls horizontal followed by the vertical rolls here. Another key feature is how many rivets or eyelets does it have. And then most often there is some type of branding inside the pocket. This one, again, that was done with like a hot foil thing. This one has lost its color and most of the impression, but you can see here the G and the M. I'll see if I can zoom in on that a little bit. It's really hard to make it out, especially on camera. And one other thing that I was able to notice on this one is in the right angle, right below the G and the M, you can make out what's left of the word cowhide. It's basically right across here. It says cowhide. I'm having a hard time with the camera getting that to show up though. So those are some of the clues, and then we're going to move over to this area and talk a little bit. All right, we're going to hope that I can do this with the camera up there and tell you what I'm talking about. So with me here, I have a few things. First of all, this is a printout of the 1960/61 Cooper Weeks catalog. This one here is my 63/64, and this one is my 65/66. Mind you, remember 65/66, this is probably printed somewhere in the end of, apologize for the dogs going nuts, I think Amazon's making a delivery of those white cloth gloves I needed. What I want to tell you is how I know this glove is before mid 1965, and this is a great story in the history of Cooper Weeks and the design of these gloves. First of all, when I'm aging it, I go over here to 1960/61. It's this one up here. I can tell you right off the bat, different cuff design. So this has all horizontals here. So then we go to my 63/64 and GM6. Gold seal professional. Remember I told you it had the gold seal on the thumb of this blocker here. You can see what that would look like. They don't show the front and back of all the gloves. But so now we're in that same design style. We have the vertical and we have 1, 2, 3 rivets. The GM9 has 4 rivets. Very, very similar designed glove. But this is considered like the senior level glove. The GM 9, 10, and 12 were in the professional side of things. One thing you're going to notice on all of these, very similar to this one, is there are no threads. There are no stitching in the palm of this glove. Even here, and I brought this one out just to make that point, 65, 66. Remember, this would have been printed in sometime probably late 64 or early fall to get it out there on the market ahead of time so people could start ordering. And in this one, you'll see there's also no stitch lines in there. So I want to use this GM9 as an example, and I want to show you my GM9, which is Cooper Weeks. And you'll notice vertical stitching through the middle of the palm here. This is, I can tell you, after March, April of 1965. And again, I just want to share this because it was shared with me and with permission to pass on. This is a letter from the Cooper Weeks company sent to a young teenage goalie in Sweden by the name of Christer Sealstead. And what Christer had was a GM10, which is on here, very, very similar to the GM9. And what he didn't like was that from heavy use, the glove was separating. It was falling apart on him. So this is the story he told me, and I'm passing it on to you. He sat down one day with his mom's sewing machine and took his glove apart and played around with different ways of sewing the palm together to make it last longer. And he came up with this just straight, diagonal, vertical, whatever, pattern through the middle here. And he liked it so much that he thought it was worth letting the Cooper Weeks company know. And so he wrote them a letter. This is, 1965, airmail from Sweden to Canada. And in March 3rd is when he dated his letter that he sent. He didn't hear anything. And then one day he got a letter in the mail, April 22nd, 1965. It was dated, and it was from John Cooper, who was in charge of marketing for the Cooper Weeks company. His dad was an owner. His dad was the Cooper, Jack Cooper of Cooper Weeks. It was Jack Cooper and Cecil Weeks. So their letter went on to, first of all, apologize. John's letter said, "We're sorry it took so long to get back to you." Mind you, this is the 60s and airmail, right? And we're talking not even 2 months have passed since he sent that letter. The reason they explained, that John explained in the letter, was they liked his idea. And so before replying to him, they wanted to test it. So they ran it through their R&D department, and they tried that stitch pattern to see if it would make the glove hold up. And they, lo and behold, actually thought it was a great idea. And this is a quote. "We have experimented with stitching in the palm as you suggested. We are going to adopt this for our line, and the change is being made immediately. So all future production will be as you suggest." That's impressive. A 16, 17-year-old kid, I think he was, sends this letter with his idea just because he was a goalie that didn't like the way his gear was falling apart. And this company not only read his letter, but immediately took it into R&D, played around with it, and liked it, and then moved their production immediately. They didn't wait for the next catalog year. So that's why I'm pointing out, this catalog won't show those, but the later catalogs do show those stitch lines. So I'm so glad that Christer had shared that with me. But again, that's the stitching. This doesn't have it. Therefore, this is from before April-ish of 1965 in its construction. And I know that it's later than 1960 at least. So, because they could have changed this. Again, this catalog would have been produced sometime in 1959, I'm sure, to get it out to all the dealers. So it could have been 1960. I guess they could have changed it. But it does very closely match this design here. These are like artist renditions. These are not photographs. These are drawings that they used inside of these catalogs. So some things can be different. For example, I told you I can make out the word cowhide in this palm. And when we look at the GM6 here, it does not show the word cowhide under the GM6. So, it can be really nearly impossible to 100% narrow these down to an exact time frame. But thankfully, thanks to Christer sharing that letter with me, we can at least get a ballpark idea. So there you have it. This is my new glove in the collection. I did not have a GM6 in this era yet, so it's really cool to have it. I'm really stoked that it's the early model from Cooper Weeks branding and that it's in such fantastic condition. Like the pinky loop is still there, the thumb loop is still there, the leather is still quite supple. It was not in the worst of shape before I cleaned it either. There are some eyelets that have come loose from the backhand here. Not sure I'm going to do a whole lot with that because this This lacing isn't all that bad. There's a broken piece up here. I don't think I want to relace it. I probably won't wear this one. You never know with me. I have used this one, and I have used the Cooper version of this one as well, which was from at least 1968 is when they changed the branding before the name of the company changed. So like 68 catalog years when the Cooper branding started showing up on all the gear. So my other one is from 68 to like 71. Anyway, there you have it. That's the story of what a beer league goalie would have been wearing in the early 1960s as a catch glove. If you like this video, please give me a follow. I'm going to try to do more of this kind of videos. New merch on the merch store too. I'll put a link down below at coopergoalie.com, and you can click the merch store link. This is the premium hoodie. They call it a unisex hoodie. I like this. Yeah, thanks for watching.